It is now. And so the second blessing I'm going to offer is the aspiration prayer, very short version of that prayer from the Tibetan tradition. May I become at all times, both now and forever, a protector for those without protection, a guide for those who have lost their way, a ship for those with oceans to cross, a bridge for those with rivers to cross, a sanctuary for those in danger, a lamp for those without light, a place of refuge for those who lack shelter, and a servant and benefactor to all in need. And so feeling into the body, seeing if we can make contact with this awakened heart. And feel the radiance of that heart as it moves throughout the whole of the body. Without the heart mind, the body is simply a shell, a suitcase, bag of skin. The soft animal nature of the body that Mary Oliver talks about is imbued completely, immersed with the radiant quality of the awakened heart mind. May we offer this practice and all practice to the end of suffering that we know exists, and to the realization of true, unending, unconditioned happiness and freedom. May we offer this to all beings everywhere, and I really mean it, everywhere, in all directions without exception, omitting none, so that we can all be awakened and free. And so beginning to incline the mind gently towards that radiant heart, the one that is awakened, the one that knows the truth of our impermanence, our interconnectedness, that knows the truth of karma and the truth of suffering. And so we sit here together. Just like this. See if you can breathe in the truth of that and simply breathe it out as we begin. Finding the refuge in this radiant heart and in the breath itself that nurtures it, that feeds it, that invites its aliveness. And no matter where you place the attention in the breathscape, make sure you keep an eye on this open heart. Create enough space and enough room that with each in-breath you're awakening, its potential. And with each out breath, at least for this moment, we simply rest in the refuge, our own awakened heart mind. This is the first point of refuge in the refuge vows, that no matter what else is true, this awakened heart mind is simply right here available. We, in certain traditions, could be called source, soul, Buddha nature, pure awareness. Call it what you will. Tight or loose, a tender spot or barricaded up. Really, it isn't even the point. The point is the knowing, the being with, the holding. However we are. And then we might remember that there are no conditions, no earthly, worldly conditions that can dampen the light, the nature of this open, luminous, awakened heart. And see if for these next few moments of breath, we can touch into the truth of that. A second point of refuge, the truth itself. And with each out breath, we let go of the contraction of disbelief, of fear, of thinking. We let go of the past and the future. Igniting this soft animal body with this enlivened, enlightened, awakened heart. And don't wait for additional instructions. Don't look for something else. Completely find the space to abide calmly here. And we let the radiant light of awareness shine on whatever arises. But for just now, we're just going to place the mind right in that light. remembering our essential goodness and the goodness of all those labors that we celebrate this weekend. And wherever you incline the mind, when the mind moves off of that source of openness, warmth, light, spaciousness, that luminosity, make sure you turn it towards the good. Recollect a moment of kindness. This is not a distraction. Recollect your own goodness. This is not distraction. And the one caution in this practice is to be watchful, not to make the goodness mine or not mine, or yours and not yours. There's no such thing. All kindness is ours. All love is ours. All compassion is ours in its collective. Each moment, each one brightens the light. And we can take refuge in this very goodness. And so we can recollect a benefactor, a loved one, someone who has cared for us, whom we truly felt real love in this moment, and placing both that person above you as a source of light. They may be living or dead, but that light continues. There it is. That light has contributed to our own, and so we place it there above us. Another source of refuge in the moments we just don't have it. Someone else has had it and has offered it to us and will. You may picture a face, you may picture loving eyes, but whatever else you imagine, make sure you can feel that goodness and that light and breathe it in with the next set of in-breaths directly into your own radiant heart. Unifying this source, making it larger. And of course, the truth is you already have this within you. This is simply a reminder of the refuge that already exists. It's right here in you. And we offer phrases, gestures of devotion, of love to this benefactor resting now deeply within us, right here in the marrow. We can offer phrases of metta or wish-fulfilling jewel, whatever works for you. And breathing in, offering these words, these resources, this devotion to the benefactor. May you have happiness and the causes for happiness. May you be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May you rejoice at your goodness and the goodness you have shared. May you rest and dwell in that vast, open, radiant, and empty, awakened heart-mind. Free. And letting that light source simply radiate, feeling its warmth once again. And it's very appropriate to create an image that works for you. How can you truly feel this reality, this truth? And then we feel the effects in our own heart, mind, and body. As we remember. Breathing it in and breathing it out. This is not an exercise, this is a reality. Can you feel it? The practice is one of simply waking up to the truth, not creating some pretty image. And then along with the benefactor, we place ourselves in this open, luminous space, this awakened heart mind. And as we do, all afflictions are burned away. Simply conditions. And we remember with not only this general sense of our own goodness, our own Buddha nature, we recollect a moment where this was in clear evidence. calling it to heart mind. Calling the person or persons to whom you offered this kindness, this generosity, this patience, this goodness. And picturing their face. And then placing them out in front of us, equal to our own level of our own heart. And we send that goodness, that love, that compassion, that care, we send it out to them. Recollecting the feeling, space, the warmth, the room, the light of this one offering. Feel the openness, the enlivening. The sense that we then have that there is no me or you, no us or them. There is just this awakening, this light, this truth growing larger. And then we can breathe that in, making this heart bigger, brighter. And then calling to mind and placing in front of you someone with whom you have had a fairly neutral relationship. I'm going to use my neighbor 2 doors down as an example. Generally pleasant, not unpleasant, not particularly connected or disconnected. And calling this being to mind and placing them here at heart's level in front of you. And gathering that source of light, drawing it in from all directions, all sources, and offering this kindness, this love. You could even say this truth to them. We are not separate. Your happiness and my happiness is completely interconnected. If you are not well, I cannot be well. And letting the truth of that interconnectedness soak in. Breathing out, offering them whatever goodness, whatever is needed, whatever might be benefit. Offering them these phrases of loving kindness. May you have happiness and the causes for happiness. May you be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May you rejoice at your goodness and your good fortune and that which you have offered and shared with others. May you rest in this awakened heart mind, free from all affliction, all distress, free. And then breathing them in, making more space and room. And I'm picturing someone with whom you have experienced distress, contraction, fear, placing them there and in front of you. And widening, opening the heart, creating space and room to hold this being. As we breathe out, sending light, sending resources, sending blessings. We send these phrases of loving kindness. May you have happiness and the causes for happiness, true abiding happiness. May you be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May you rejoice at your good fortune and your goodness and the goodness that has been offered to others. May you rest in this awakened heart mind. Free. and making contact with resistance, with fear, with like, nah, I don't know, not sure. And remembering that as long as there is this aggression, as long as there is this fear, these judgments, this aversion, we cannot be free. The way that is clear, that is wise, that is loving cannot be seen. And then calling to mind someone who has labored, who you know who has labored, and whose labor you have benefited from. And calling them to mind and placing them in front of you at heart's level. Breathing in and to them, dissolving any sense of separation, of disconnect. You see their benefits, their goodness, their offerings, and they see yours. We have drawn light from this source, as well as from the benefactor, as well as from our own good heart. And we can shine those lights in all directions. Resting in that vast open space. Resting in that texture of loving kindness and compassion. Feeling its sense of holding us, nourishing us, caring for us. Offering this loving kindness to those beings, and then let it expand as it does and will. May we all have happiness and the causes for happiness. May we all be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May we all rejoice at our goodness and its good fortune. May we rest and dwell in the vast and open arms of the awakened heart mind of wisdom, love, and compassion. Free from all distress. And then inviting in as you will into this loving space as many others has come to mind. And move the light out in all directions. See if you can touch the entire sense of open space possible. And then we give up all concepts. We give up all beings as separate. We simply rest in the luminosity. Knowing that each is a part of this whole, this radiant, luminous, open, spacious whole. Points of light. And then we simply become this pulsing source of light that is a part of all things. May I have happiness and the causes for happiness. May I be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May I rejoice at my goodness and all of its benefits. May I rest and dwell in the vast open space of the awakened heart mind, protected. The greatest source of refuge. Free from all afflictions and all suffering. It's so good to see all of you this morning. I think what I'd really like to do maybe this morning is just talk with you all about how you are finding refuge and where you are remembering to look and what has been workable for you, particularly in these difficult times. And I think it's intensifying, of course, due to lines, sex, biases, ideas, and realities, right? It's all there. It's a crucible time, it feels like, for sure. And one for me where the practice, I don't know, truly. I don't know how I would be navigating this personally without the practice. So I'd just like to hear from you. Please come on and say hello. We haven't talked together in a while. I would love to hear from you all. Just come on and say hi and offer us your thoughts about this.
Well, I know for me, if I wasn't able to be out with younger people, I would probably be a basket case.
Dennis, is that part of your livelihood in offering lessons to the youngers.
That's right. Yep. Yep. And it's just a blessing to be out there with them, and it lightens up my heart, because sometimes I'm feeling not that great, but after I see them,
Yes,
my heart lightens up.
lovely. You see the hope in the present moment, because there they are just doing what they're doing, right?
That's
Enjoying
right.
whatever
That's
they're,
right. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Because
moving.
they look at you with a blank face, and they're like, "Hey,
Yeah,
what's
just
going on?"
big open space. Yeah, that's lovely.
Just look into their eyes. Look
Yeah.
into their eyes.
So time with innocence, time with those who have not become jaded or biased or take sides, on uh, who should be okay and who should not be okay.
Yep. That's
Yeah,
right.
that's beautiful. Thank you.
I'll work on getting my picture back.
Yes. Well, I know you're there by voice, so you're still recognized.
Hi,
Who else?
Diana.
Hi. Hi, Leslie. Good to see you.
I'm here. I'm here. Here's a little grove of trees, a few minutes walk from my little place. And early in the morning is the only time that it's at this point in time not too hot, and the air quality is at that time usually okay. The UV is okay. Otherwise, I have to be inside all the time now. When I go there, so there's no one around at all. Well, sometimes if someone walks by, but just usually when I first arrive, um, I just have this wonderful feeling as I arrive, and I feel I'm with this family, um, and that they're all connected and inviting me, and I don't know where their eyes and ears are, but it seems to be that it's just present, and it brings me this connection and relaxation and joy, and and then I feel this connection with what you could call Mother Earth, or in the Jewish tradition, Shekhinah, or there's all sorts of ways of looking at it, but or naming it. But it's the core. It gives the interconnection between this grove of tree and my walking on the earth, and then I do some kind of like qigong of sorts, of tai chi, of just feeling, allowing that to come through all of me, and so that gives me what you were saying before, that
Yes.
that and it gives me that sense of I pop out of something that's heavy, and into the oneness, where I feel like I'm tasting and kissing the oneness when I'm in that connection. So
That's right. Nature, our own nature really represented so beautifully there, really. And I often use the earth, nature, and its around myself. I know many of us do, as a source of stability, groundedness, rootedness, and wide open space as well. Yeah, I usually often in Refuge, I will name nature, and I decided not to today. I decided to let it be our own nature and see what else came to us uh, from that source. Thank you. Good to see you. I'm sorry it's hot there in Israel. I know it's hot, difficult there, and I think it's going to get a little more difficult here. in the next few days as well. So we're all working with that, the heat and how to slow down and pull in a little and go into less movement, I think, actually, is part of the work in those times. Yes, love the energy of trees. Many of us do, and nature.
Also,
Who else?
the
Oh,
breathing.
go ahead.
If I'm breathing, breathing to the trees and they're breathing back to me, you know, it's that oxygen, carbon dioxide,
Yeah.
interconnectedness that I, you know, when there's poor air quality here, I could really feel, oh, but I can, you know,
Yes.
you know, that. So, okay, that's
That
all.
exchange is actually always happening, and it's so good to remember and to be really in it. You know, we did forest bathing a little bit in our last retreat, and we know its benefit and its impact to us all. So that's something I would highly recommend to others. I've needed myself to be out in nature, open space, quite a bit more than I have at other times. Really not in neighborhoods and not where there are lots of houses, and just wide open space so that I remember the truth of the infinite in us and in those things, and ultimately in all things. So that's right. Thank you. Who else?
Good morning, everyone. This is Maureen.
Hi, Maureen.
Hi. Fortunately, Bill and I have a strong practice every day, daily practice, which, as you say, if we didn't have that, who knows where we'd be. Other places of refuge for me are actually walking the dog in the early morning before the neighborhood is active and awake, really, and in all kinds of weather. Right now, we've had kind of gloomy, wet mornings and hot afternoons. And being with the dog who's just so happy about everything, just every breath he takes is just bliss. So that's very helpful.
Yes.
And then cooking, doing some basic but healthy cooking, I find really transports me. And then eating the food has been helpful. And finally, sleep, really deep sleep. And it's not every night, but most nights. And that is so restorative for me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Those are very important and beautiful sources to name. One is rest itself. It's a refuge and a resource, and one that we not only don't think about very much, I don't think we give to ourselves often enough. I really we skip by that, like, well, let's try to find it somewhere else in the 24/7 busyness and distraction. And so those are beautiful refuges, ones I know we all connect with. The practice itself, yes, it's critical. And whatever that is for you, it's not for me to say what that needs to look like, but that it's there for you, and that it's intentioned, and that you take time each day for it. And whether that's bowing to the trees or prostrations or insight meditation practice or reading something, everyone has to find their path, their way. And there are many, but that we find them and that we connect with them. And I'm going to use Maureen's word here, daily. And I don't know what's crazy about us enough, but we're doing it again, to think that somehow if I drop in every once in a while, this will be sufficient. No, it won't. No, it can't. And it cannot hold you up. And then you cannot be available or a resource to hold others up. So don't buy into the delusion. Don't buy into this cultural context that says as long as we're busy, everything's good. It is not so. And Maureen just named a couple, many, the practice, sleep, rest, pets. You have to be somewhat awake to even access that, to see the joy in the pet, the ease in the pet. which should be a constant reminder to us. The ease in the tree, that's just doing the tree thing, you know, in its sway and aliveness. These are all beautiful reminders. And also cooking, how wonderful. And real food. I think there is something in that we remember what's being offered to us really by the earth itself freely. We have put the tax on it, as they say. The earth itself offers it freely. And to take nourishment from that in all the ways we do, that's beautiful. What else?
Yeah, Diana, first of all, thank you everyone for those wonderful insights. I wholeheartedly agree with every one of them, and some of them were even reminders to myself. You know, I have the great fortune of being surrounded by kids pretty much constantly. My cousin's family and my family, we're on the same property, so they're 2 5-year-olds and a 2-year-old, which can get pretty hectic at times. But thank you, Dennis, for just reminding me to drop into their level more frequently. Look them in the eye, and when we have fun, we interact, and it's a compassionate relationship all around. But to really just be like, dude, like, just drop into their space and really, really appreciate that. Oh man. Anyway, yeah. So thank you for that. And then, of course, the nature element, the cooking element, all that. I wanted to add, and the cooking element actually sort of dovetails into this thing. My good friend Janessa, an amazing artist and therapist herself, she has this kind of like personal idea about creative energy, and about how particularly during periods of change, however intense and however they manifest, there's a fundamental creative energy inside each and every one of us, and it's really stirred up during these these shifts, these of which we're undergoing a massive one right now, just with all global events happening. And without an outlet, without some form of release, that creative energy is going to manifest itself in I don't know, not so wholesome ways, whether like neurosis or depression or anxiety or whatever. And so yeah, whether you have an artistic or an artistic practice or not, just finding some way to harness and express that creative energy, I think, is really important. And I've found, I'm a musician, and lately, I don't know, I've just had this real obsession with just like like I'm finally learning to read music after 30 years of playing various instruments, and read and write music, and getting into theory, and getting into all these aspects of uncovering all of these aspects of this this art form that I thought I knew so well. And it's super inspiring, and it really gets you into that I don't know how you pronounce it, but ecstasis or something, this kind of flow state where I think is tremendously beneficial to mental, physiological, emotional, and spiritual health. So yeah, thanks for letting me share, and thanks for all the other wonderful shares.
Yeah, thank you. Creativity, yes. In infinite form, right? So we're so limited too often in going, well, I'm not a painter and I'm not a musician, so I just don't have that. It may be the way you set a table. It may be the way you fold a napkin. It may be the way you take a bunch of rocks and, play with design. It may be the way you listen and what you listen to. Yes, dancing came to mind for me. When we did Awakening Joy, one of the commitments we all made was to, the research really on dancing is dramatic for enlivening and awakening joy, especially with little ones. There is no one I love dancing with more than a bunch of little kids, right? Isn't it true? It makes me laugh now. There's everything's going everywhere, and it's as close to an orgy as I think I'll probably ever be. It's the most amazing and it really breaks the shackle for me of having to look like I've got a rhythm, or having to be something in the movement. Just this joy of listening and freedom and movement and creativity that comes in all of that. And that's a really important one, I have to say. And there is dramatic refuge in it, isn't it, truly? Because we give ourselves completely, don't we? You have to really be there. You give yourself to it. And so if you're feeling like, wow, there's a little tight space and I don't, that level of creativity just from things like listening to music and movement and again, just being in our space with some kind of joy and energy release, I think was another key point. Yeah, that's a beautiful one. And look at how skillful we are. Look at what we know. Really, we just took a few minutes and named them. And so we have just a few more minutes. We could endlessly name these, by the way, because they're infinite. There is no end. So what I want to ask now is, why don't we do them? What habit, what delusion, what old story gets in the way? What keeps us from these infinite, ongoing, ever-present, always available sources of goodness? Yep. Just saw one chat on that. Other things going on that we decide by habit, usually by some habit, are more important. Distraction, that's right. We have to call it distraction. Why? Why do we have to call everything else before we make contact with our goodness, the wholeness, goodness, oneness in the world, and find some manifest expression? Why is everything else a complete waste of time? Because it is. Because we have to stop. Yeah, you have to climb out of the addiction. You have to get out of your own way, get out of your own story. Yep.
I was just going to say something about the distraction, about I have never been like a huge like social media surfer before I don't know, the last couple of months, and I have found myself just especially with the election and everything going on in the world, it's like I just keep looking for some kind of ray of hope in
Yes.
comments or stream of consciousness, and I find myself just looking at my phone way too much, whether it's on Twitter or now my sons, they watch YouTube constantly like it is, a television channel. Yeah. So I just wanted to jump on and find out what they're exposed to. And I think that is really distracting to me, this constant news. And I have to find myself, it is addictive. And I think I almost have to pull myself away and dive into some of the things that people talked about, which are all the things that I'm feeling that I've been able to dive into and
Yes.
and put me in a good space to be the person I want to be. So that's one thing I find really distracting, and I'm really going to work on it this week. And the practice helps me with that. So
yes, I agree. I think we have to stay with the word addiction. I don't think we can move away from its reality. Distractions are addicting, and they take us down. Can't you feel it? No matter how busy you get, it takes you down. No matter how much news you watch, it takes you down. And in fact, it's so empty in its way that you have to go, like all good addictions, to get more, to feel even okay. And then you have
Yeah,
to
I always feel kind of dirty and not in a fun way.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I don't want to watch
yeah.
anymore.
Not in a fun way, in a completely deadened, disconnected, hopeless, helpless, dark way. And I think we all have to start paying attention, because I think that's going to intensify, not get less. And then you feel like, wait, I'm way out of, I'm disconnected, because now I don't even know about all the horrible things happening. I did it this morning. I checked in and read one article and went, oh my God, Armageddon. This is it. And it isn't whether it's even true or not true. It's not even the point. The point is what? How do I live, love, be now? It doesn't change a thing. The requirement is the same. How do I get here? How do I anchor here? How do I see all that is both alive, good, as well as the realities that there is work to do, that there is change to affect, right? And so we get in the body, we get in the, we climb in to that goodness first. And I want all of us to be protected.
Well, and how can we, you know, my brother's up in Oregon, and he's probably the most opposite politically and mindset of me. And,
Yes.
you know, he just sent me his picture with his cutout of Trump. I don't want to get political, but, you know, he and I are, but he is like living in this like very fearful space. And, you know, what I was going to call him today, and the practice this morning really, I don't know, encouraged me that I'm going to call him today and just listen, you know, and just hear that fear and be compassionate and really not, you know, so I really am thankful for that, to have that
Yes.
this morning.
Yes. I also have that brother. And, you know, every time we get on the phone, and I adore him, and I know I am loved deeply by him as well, because he is also pain. He lives in middle America and is a middle-class white guy, and has a lot of fears and pain.
Are we really related? Because that's
Yeah,
my brother.
of course we are. Of course we are. And, you know, my constant commitment is to let him know that I love him and that I'm going to be there to ensure his well-being. I don't know what that means. You know, may be living in my bathroom. You know, I don't know what the truth of that will be. And I listen as well to the facts, the data, but not for the numbers. Just like Leanne, I listen for the pain and the fear. And I say, you know, yes, this is a divisive, scary time. And it's scariest because of our divisiveness. And so I will not contribute to that, right? I will not contribute to that. Whatever you're thinking and my thinking, I don't even care. I just want you to know that I love you, and I'm always going to do my best to make sure that you're okay also. And we always end that way, whatever the data pools and their difference. And I think that's a lot of our work right now. There's a list I write every day. And of course, that has to come first. Happiness is not on it. Yeah, please include awakening joy on that list, because if our practice is really enlivened, joy actually is one of the freedoms, even in the midst of other challenges. And we don't, again, deny them. You can take joy in the ability that you can take an action towards the good, that you can be of benefit in some loving, caring, compassionate way. And remember, we don't ever assume that those things look like passivity or look like or look like indifference or apathy. It's not true at all. It's quite the opposite. And as we listen to people talk, couldn't we feel the aliveness in them? You know, really just dramatically.
I wanted to share something that really,
Yes. Hi, Courtney.
hi, that really touched me this morning. So Adam, my partner, his stepfather is terminal and has very limited time left to live. And all the neighbors last night, without anybody knowing, came out and lined their sidewalk and driveway with luminaries, the bags with the candles in it, and then just called his mother and said, please go outside, we have something for you. And it was just such a beautiful, simple thing that a collective group of people gave to create ease and to show love. And I just thought it was so special. So I just wanted to share.
Beautiful. Thank you. I'm sorry for Adam and his losses, and all of us then too, right, as we confront these losses, both of loved ones and of sometimes safety, a sense of safety. And look at what one small thing does. Isn't it mind-blowing? Really? And the collective of that means all the more, right? And so somebody said to somebody, hey, I've got some candles, right? That's how it started. Let's do something in the face of this, right? And it turns into, like really the greatest act of love. It does. And I want you all to know we're all capable, and it is in these small things. And I think in addition to the addictive nature of distraction, the second thing we do that I think costs us everything is to value ourselves, doesn't it? Is to believe we're not enough, to fall into that trance of unworthiness. And so we go, one candle, really? What's that going to do? This is a little light. Well, everything is the answer. And too often, we're all doing it, which is, I don't know, macrame. What's a couple knots? Really? What's cooking? It's just a meal. Look at how we do this in a way that A, does not represent its value or its truth at all. And it's the addictive nature that devalues it, by the way. I just want you to know who's doing it. It's that ego clinging. It's really not enough, because nothing's enough for the ego, by the way. Nothing's big enough. Nothing's enough money. Nothing's good enough. Nothing delicious enough. Nothing, right? It's really the peanut butter and jelly sandwich that you shared that was the best meal. It had nothing to do with filet mignon, did it? It was the heart that offered that made it everything. And I want us to remember that, because I think that's the second most dangerous, is this trance of unworthiness that the ego helps us climb into, which is, it's got to be everything, it's got to be all, it's got to be the biggest, the best, that's that consumer ego craving nature, or forget it, because it's just a walk. And I think that's so destructive to us and to others, that we then don't do anything, not for ourselves, and then not for others. And I think this is a beautiful week, Leanne said. I think I heard her say that this week. And I'm going to start with today, remembering these small moments and really committing something fierce to them, the fierce intention to them, whether it's a simple meal, whether it's being in the garden, whether that's, I'll give you an example. In the loving kindness practice, my neighbor 2 doors down came to mind as I said, I'm going to bring her something from the garden. Now, I've had this garden for 5 years. Do you think I've ever brought this woman one thing? Not a thing. No, never occurred to me. I'm going to do that today. Why? One simple moment, right, opens everything.
Hi, Diana. This is
Hi,
Ryan.
Ryan.
Hey, I just wanted to say thank you so much. I mean, for what you're doing here, and you seem very extraordinary today due to maybe the retreat. That was just an amazing. I I felt like that was coming through on the meditation. There's so much to discuss, but I'll try to keep it short and sweet. Yeah, I feel like for me personally, it's just trying to tend to the garden, yeah, on my side, take care of my side of the fence, without getting political. I feel like we're being so manipulated about everything that's bad happening and not mentioning exactly what Courtney just mentioned, that there is good things happening. But if you really drill down on the media and just constantly focusing on that, all you're going to hear is what's bad. And it's not to say that there is bad things happening and there is suffering happening, of course. But for me, what I've tried to cultivate is just really, like, speaking to Anthony, basically everything that all the folks had mentioned, I'm in alignment with, and trying to cultivate the things inside myself. A lot of times I think we're externalizing. If the people outside of us just did something that we wanted them to do, suddenly everything would be better. When in actuality, for me, trying to cultivate those skills and that inner work, I feel like that has the real opportunity to radiate out and make change. It's going to start with us first and foremost. So I just wanted to add that, and thank you so much for what you're doing for everyone and yourself and all of us.
Well,
thank you.
Because without you, we can't do it either. Right?
Right.
We become that critical light source. And I want us to look at that this week, really. I want us to be watchful of where we're putting time and energies and be very careful. We've got to be a little more guarded, a little more protective of turning towards those things that can be nourishing, joyful, and awakening, and limiting, I think, the addictive devices. And I think that's more important now than ever. It's always true. And I think now especially because we're being inundated. I can't look at Facebook anymore because the very next thing is, and if you look at the comments, you have to be watchful of where the value is and how you use information and how it contributes to your benefit, to your well-being. And not only yours, but all those around you. So thank you all. I want to say a few things. Thank you all for the support during the retreat. The retreat was amazing. Yes, it was. I so am grateful for those people who came to sit with me. As it turned out, I was attacked by flies for several days, right, eating my eyes, literally. And if people hadn't been there sitting with me, I'm certain there would have been no way to be with and open to that. I felt strongly supported. There were just a couple people, board members, who came up. It wasn't an open retreat because Quest Haven wouldn't allow that this time. I know there will be another time and another day for that. But thank you all, because I know you're all there with me. I am not going to do the all day next week on the 11th. People are saying they're still getting their lives together. They're getting fall schedules. They're getting kids in school. It feels a little bit too early. But I am going to ask the question, should we wait until closer to the holiday for the all day? We're going to be doing a retreat October 9, 10, 11. So that'll be an opportunity for all of us to be together for some continuous practice. But if you were going to do just one all day from 9 to 4, where would you like to see that? Just give me some ideas right in there if you have any thoughts about this. I'm not going to do it next week. It's feeling a little bit too soon for people who are trying to get their lives in order following the summer schedule. But write me. That will be an all day on Zoom. That will be an all day on Zoom, not at Quest Haven. Quest Haven is closed. So that will be a virtual. So I'm just trying to figure that out a little bit. So if people can give me any feedback, that would be a little bit helpful to me. And I'll keep asking, but we're not going to do it next week. if it's feeling like a little bit too much. I'm going to check. I think we're good. I am grateful for this group as well. Why don't we sit together for just a minute in that gratitude? Another source of awakening joy, remembering goodness. Look at all these beautiful sources of light right here. And just breathe it in and breathe it out. Being watchful, attentive, heedful. This is all some of the functions of mindfulness. Paying attention for where the good is and how to rest and find refuge in it. Commit yourself completely. That means you're going to have to unplug some, if not more than some. Get outside, get in movement, cook something, practice, play an instrument, do a little macrame, color in a coloring book, do a mandala, string some beads, give it away. Be love. That's the best we can do, and it is good enough. May we all have happiness. May we all be free from fear, pain, and distress. May we rejoice at the possibilities for this love, and may we live it fully, completely. No distraction. And may we breathe and feel gratitude for our well-being. May we continue to contribute. And may it be so this very day. And blessings to you all. Thank you all so much for being here, for practicing together. It makes all the difference in the world. Actually, thank you. I'll look forward to seeing you Monday evening. And for 8 p.m. practice for those of you who can make that work for you. Blessings to all who are not well, who are sick or fearful, especially sending blessings where they are most needed now. I look forward to being with you all again soon. Take good care. I'll leave this on for a minute if people have feedback about when they would like to see an all day. I'll leave this up for a little while. Have a good weekend, everyone.